Hi everyone. Welcome to Know the Therapist. My name is Jennifer and I'm a counseling psychologist. My guest today is Brenda Onyango Kituyi. She is also a counseling psychologist and she will be joining us in a few seconds. So I hope you can see and hear me clearly. And grab a drink, grab a notebook and a pen. You might hear something that might be useful. This is the time. So as we wait for Brenda, get comfortable. This is going to be an exciting session. And yeah, send the link to a friend to also join so that we have more people in the live. So yeah, we are excited to have you here. Brenda, in case you can hear and see me, kindly let me know in the comments um, so that I can also add you to the live as our guest. Then we can get started. So Brenda is in the process of joining. Just let's give it a second. Let's be patient a bit because technology is very complicated for most of us. Yeah, there you go. Brenda is joining, and yep, there she is. Hi, Brenda.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you and I can see you clearly. I don't know if you can hear me and see me clearly.
I can. Let me just put this properly. Yeah, today has been a crazy day for me.
So sorry to hear that. Pole sana, these things happen.
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic. Are you settled now?
Okay. I think so, although I can't really. Oh, I'll see myself here on my computer.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see you. I can see you clearly and I can hear you. And so good to have you. Thank you so much for joining our session today. Um, Everybody, here's Brenda. Her name is Brenda Onyango Kituyi. She's a counseling psychologist and the founder of MentalIs HumanToo. As you can see, her handle on the Facebook Live is MentalIs HumanToo. So that tells you where she is from. So just so that we can get started and we can go through this in a short period of time, so that we can let guys go early. Maybe we can just start with you, Brenda, telling us a bit about yourself, your titles, what kind of work you do, and yeah, and what kind of training you have in the kind of work that you do.
Okay, thank you so much. I'm very happy to be here. It's a pleasure to be here. Sorry, we've started late. I had broadcasted this all over my socials, telling people be there by 7,
Yeah.
but things happen.
Yep. Yep.
But I'm very happy to be here. Yeah, thank you so much for hosting me. My name is Brenda Onyango Kituyi. I am a counseling psychologist with a master's in counseling psychology. I do general counseling, meaning I handle a variety of issues. And currently, I work as a counselor in a higher learning institution, but I also take private clients, which people can reach me by sending a message to MentalIs HumanToo DMs. I'll be able to get back to you. For those who have my WhatsApp number, they can also send me a direct message. I'm also very active. I'm active on MentalIs HumanToo, Instagram. Okay. So if anybody wants to reach me, they can reach me on those platforms. And yeah, I enjoy doing counseling work. I enjoy helping people jump the hurdles in life. There's an echo. Is it coming from me?
Probably because I can hear you, but you're a bit far. I don't know. I don't know if it's your device or something, but we can still hear you. We can still hear you.
All right.
Yes. But yeah, thank you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for
So
that introduction. How long have you been practicing as a counseling psychologist?
I've been practicing since 2018.
Oh, okay. That's a long time. That's a long time. You must have seen hundreds and hundreds of clients. What is the one thing that those clients have taught you? Because that's a long time to be seeing clients. I can imagine you've learned a bunch of lessons from your clients. What is the most valuable lesson you've learned from them?
The most valuable lesson I have learned from my clients is not it's not a one size fits all in this practice. Yeah. What might work very well for client A will not work for client B.
Yeah, that's true.
And yeah, my clients have taught me that it's you can't copy paste in counseling. Everyone is different, you know, and everyone they may be facing the same problem, but it's totally different. Yeah. So that's the one thing I've learned from my clients.
Yeah, I think that's a very important lesson because it's very common for people in our practice, especially when you are stuck on one modality. Like, this is the way I operate. Maybe you're a CBT counselor, or maybe you're a psychoanalytic counselor. It's very easy to believe that every client is going to fit in that mold, and so you meet a client and you're thinking, how does their problem fit in my model of work? How does their problem fit in my CBT kind of work? And I think that's a very important lesson for counselors to learn in general, because it's we can find ourselves in situations where we're trying to mold the clients to fit our preconceived ideas of what their treatment should look like.
Absolutely, exactly, you know, and I always use a variety of techniques, a variety of theoretical approaches, because I realize I might look at a client's beliefs and try to help them through that channel of CBT and finding out how they can change their beliefs. But that doesn't work. They are not yet at that level of insight. So I have to take a different approach. I have to maybe go through narrative therapy and what are they telling themselves? How can they change their story? And
Yeah.
some clients really get excited about that, realizing that they have control over their own lives and they can choose a different narrative for their life.
Yeah, that's very true. That's very true. Um, my biggest curiosity when every time that I host counselors on this platform is always how you ended up becoming a counselor. What is your story of becoming a counselor? Like, you could have been any single thing in the entire world, anything, but somehow you ended up as a counselor. How is that? How did that happen? What's your story?
So for every time I'm asked this question, I always have a different answer, and I'm afraid I'm starting to look like a fraud, having different stories. But recently, thinking about it, I've realized that there are so many reasons why I ended up in this profession.
Mm-hmm.
Number one, I've always been that person that people come to talk to. Even before I even knew about psychology,
Yeah.
before I knew about counseling and mental health, I was always that person. And people would approach me of different ages, you know. So I decided to put some skill to that. Another reason is I was also very curious about um, how people think, why people do what they do, why would someone do something to somebody else. I was just curious to understand what is it that goes on with people, you know. And it's a very satisfying career to be in, you know. Every time you have a client and you take them through some sessions and they come back to you and they've made corrections and they're happier. It's just a very fulfilling career, you know, and you have a lot of impact, ripple effects. You help this client, it impacts the life of the people in their lives, and it's this chain of just good things happening because of an incident where you sat and listened, where you advised, you gave someone like a different perspective, where you made someone come to a certain realization. So there are many reasons, but those are a few of the ones I can name at this moment.
Yeah. Thank you for that. I think it's something that you share with many counselors. Many counselors say that they ended up in the field because they realized that one, people always spoke to them, so they might as well learn the professional way of doing it, and two, that there's that curiosity behind behind how people work, what is being human, and just trying to understand those dynamics. I think that's a very important an important way of ending up in a profession. What do you think, if you want a counselor, what do you think your alternative career would have been? Because you could have been anything. So yes, you ended up as a counselor, but there must be an alternative career. What does that look like?
For me, I'm very passionate about music. Yeah, for people who follow me, they know I love music.
Yeah.
It's something I still do on the side. It's something that I'm still very passionate about. So maybe I would have ended up as a musician. Although I must tell you, being a musician is harder than being a therapist.
What is the hardest thing about being a musician? Now that you say it, what's the hardest thing about being a musician, especially in Kenya?
You have to you have to practice a lot.
Yeah.
For me, that's the hardest.
Yeah.
You have to practice a lot, and then you have to really push. There's a lot of pushing you need to do.
Mm.
Yeah, you need to push your content. You need to push for opportunities. It's a lot of pushing.
Yeah. Okay. I hope it's going well. I hope it is serving you well. I hope it is because I always believe that at the end of the day, we can work. Yes, we can work as many hours as we can, but at the end of the day, we need a creative pursuit to help us detach from work, especially in our kind of work, because our kind of work can be very exhausting and psychologically exhausting. And the fact that we work in isolation most of the time, in the sense that you're not working, yes, you might work as a team, but when you're in the counseling room, you're just you and your client. When you're in a group therapy, it's just you as the counselor. So I think having a creative pursuit is a very um, important strategy to use to take care of yourself. What does music do for you in your in your exercise? Like, you do it. Why do you do music?
So music helps me relax.
Yeah.
Music helps me just feel good for the purpose of feeling good.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. That is enough.
Anytime I'm doing anything, yeah, anytime I'm doing anything music related, I
Yeah.
just feel good.
Yeah.
So that's why I really keep up with it.
I think that is a good enough reason. Again, actually, now that you say it, I keep thinking about how in these modern times, not even modern times, it's just in the last 2-3 years, especially during this COVID season, it has become really hard to have a hobby. These days, when you have a hobby, you have to find a way to monetize it, put it on the internet, let it become your thing. Now you are officially, professionally this one thing. And I think it's good to just do things for the sake of enjoying them and realizing you don't have to make everything a job. It's okay to enjoy things for what they are. So yeah, I think that's an important point. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. That's a good one. Um, I wonder when you were in school, when you were studying. So of course you have a master's. That means you've been in school for over 5 years, combined with your undergraduate. Of course, that's a long time to be in school. And that's the expected way that counselors become counselors. How did you? What was the thing that maybe you learned about yourself in your training, like during your training? Because during your training, you get exposed to a lot of things about yourself. So it's like going through one one long therapy session, where every day you get a new thing shown to you about yourself. So what was it about yourself that you discovered that you were like, oh my gosh, I didn't know that was me? What was that for you?
Yeah, that's a very good question. I love that question. There are many realizations that I came to,
Yeah.
but one of them was realizing that I am a negative person.
Oh, wow. That is a big confession.
Yes.
That is so honest.
And yes,
Wow.
and I realized, yes, I was, in my class, we had this practical session
Yeah.
where I would be paired with a classmate.
Yes.
And the classmate would be your therapist. And then you'll be paired with somebody else, you're their therapist.
Mm.
So the person I was paired with many people, but one particular lady called Sarah, I always talk about her and she's like, oh, thank you. Because she helped me.
Yeah.
When I was paired with her, we had a very lengthy conversation and she noticed something about me. She noticed that I would say something and then end it with a negative sentence.
Mm.
So, and that was my realization that my overall perspective, my conclusion is a negative one.
Yeah.
So she brought it to my attention, and I was like, yeah, she's right. And I just realized how many things I've been holding off because of that.
Yeah.
Looking at the negative, I would always see the glass half empty instead of half full.
Yeah.
So that realization just switched it for me. And from that day onwards, I started looking at things more positively. And it has really changed my life. It made me try out new things without fear, without the apprehension, and just having a positive mindset. It has really helped. And I recommend that to my clients all the time. When I see it in them, I'm like, you need to try being positive. You need to end with a positive.
Yeah.
And that is just, yeah.
Where did that come from? Where did that negativity? Where do you think that came from? What was the thing that kept making you get to a negative place after every sentence? How was that?
I think it's just being brought up in a family with very high expectations,
Oh.
having parents who expect you to achieve great things all the time, to be
Yeah.
the best, to be the top.
Mm.
So anytime you see something is not up there, you see it as a negative. You see it as it does not qualify, as it's bad. Yeah. So I guess, yeah, that's where it came from, you know.
Wow, that's a very deep confession. Thank you for being so honest. It's very easy for us, I think, as counselors to find ways of maneuvering questions. But that one has been a very honest answer, and I'm very grateful for that, because I think it's important for guys to remember that we are human as well. You know, sometimes it's very easy for our clients to think that we are gods, or we are angels who have perfect lives, who seem to have everything all together. And hearing such kind of a confession, I'm sure there's a client somewhere who's thinking, thank God my client is not a perfect one. Thank God my client did not start out as being in this place where they never have negative things in their life. Thank you for sharing that with our audience. I'm sure somebody appreciates that a lot. Yeah, that's a very important one. Um, uh, uh, right now, I think September is a suicide prevention month. Yeah, and I've seen a lot of posts on social media, and they always get to me. I have very controversial opinions about awareness of many kinds, which is a conversation of another day. But with that knowledge that
Mhm.
September is the Suicide Prevention Awareness Month, what would be your message to people who are listening right now about suicide and its prevention and anything along those lines? What would be your message to them?
First of all, I would say if you're a campaigner,
Mhm.
be careful with the words, be careful with the kind of content you're putting out there
Yeah,
about suicide prevention.
yeah,
Read, be knowledgeable. Yeah. Nowadays, we don't even, in some platforms, we don't say suicide prevention. We say continue.
mm.
Yeah. And with the semicolon. So for anyone who is in the space of campaigning and raising awareness, be very careful with the kind of language that you use
Yeah,
and the kind of message that you're putting out there.
yeah,
And to anyone who is feeling suicidal at this particular moment, reach out for help. Yeah, talk to someone. You're not alone. There are many people who are going through a similar thing. Reach out. Yeah, there are people who are willing to help. And don't give up. If you meet up with, maybe if you open up to someone and they don't help you, go to the next person and the next person and the next person until you get help.
yeah.
Yeah, so that's what I would say.
Yeah, I think that's important, especially the part where about reaching out. I think there's a lot of help right now in the world. It's really, we have gotten to a place, yes, we have not eradicated stigma as a whole, but I think we are getting to a place where it's very easy to get help if you seek it out. So again, I would like to iterate what you've just said, that if you are listening and you're thinking about ending your life, I think it's important to speak to somebody, reach out to counselors. I know Red Cross have a free counseling service where you can call their number and they will connect you to a counselor. And it's not just Red Cross, there are other organizations as well. So reach out to those organizations, reach out to people in your life, let them help you, let them work with you, and try to build those conversations around suicide. in general, because it feels like a taboo to many people. I don't know when have you ever had a conversation with anybody about suicide outside of a therapy session for you, Brenda?
Outside, yeah, a lot.
Yeah.
I that's the thing. When you're a counselor, these topics come up a
Yeah.
lot
Yeah.
with friends, with family.
Yeah.
And luckily for me, people now know. Like my closest circle, my bigger circle, they know I'm a mental health awareness campaigner. They know I'm a therapist. So these conversations come up a lot.
Yeah.
So around me, it's easy. It's easy to talk about these things.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm sure for someone who's not in the profession, it could be hard.
Yeah.
And this is what I always tell people: be the first person in your family to post a video that has been created by me, by you, any mental health content. Be the first one to put it in a family WhatsApp group. Be the first one to post it in your high school Facebook page.
Yeah.
Be the first one to post it in your group with your aunties, whoever, whichever space you're in.
Mm-hmm.
Put mental health content out there so that you can be a conversation starter, so that people can
Yeah.
be aware. This is the thing. People around you could be suffering, but they are not comfortable to disclose because they're like, this maybe I might not be accepted. People might think I'm weird. What am I talking about? Suicide?
Yeah.
Start the conversation. You might just help your friend, your family member who's struggling.
Yeah. Yeah, that's very true. That's very true, and thank you for sharing that with us. Um, what do you do for self-care? We are very curious about that on this platform, because I know uh, there's a lot of content out there again about self-care, but at the end of the day, you want to hear that somebody else is doing it so that you can also practice. What is your self-care routine that you can share with us that we can borrow?
Okay, mine, I think it's pretty obvious. Music. I listen to music a lot. Like every day when I wake up, I'm either listening to like a preaching or a message about mental health and wellness, or I'll put on some jazz, like instrumentals on YouTube. I'll
Yeah.
play that. I'll find an artist. Maybe I want to discover Bruno Mars. This week I've been listening to Bruno Mars. So I'll listen to Bruno Mars in the morning, the whole day. On YouTube, there are 3 hours playlists, 5 hours playlists. So if I just put that, and the whole day, that's what's playing for me.
Yeah.
So anytime I'm nervous or I'm doing a task that is stressing me, I'll sing along to the song, and I'll be okay. So I do a lot of music, both just listening and also performance. What else do I do? I dance sometimes. Not that I'm a good dancer. Like I
You should
just
show
move
us a
my
move.
body.
You should show us a move. We'll appreciate a move.
My moves are good when I'm alone.
Oh.
When I'm in front of other people, they
Ah, okay. Okay, noted with thanks. Okay.
Yeah, I do a little bit of dance. I also talk to my family. I'm glad I have a good relationship with my brother, my sisters. So I talk to, they're like my friends. They're like good vibes for me, you
Yeah.
know. So I
Yeah.
talk to them anytime I feel like just need to talk. Um, what else do I do for self-care? I would like to say that I exercise, but that one goes up and down. I have days when I'm like, "Hey, this month and next month
Yeah.
we are exercising.
Yeah.
Then the following month we are just sitting on the couch."
Yes.
So yeah,
Called balance.
I try to discover. I try to discover. Maybe that's a tip I can share with people.
Yeah.
Don't discover. Do dancing. It doesn't work. Try exercising.
Yeah.
It doesn't work. Try going for a walk. It doesn't work. Try music. Like do different things. Before you know it, you'll find that every month you had a self care.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I like that.
And another thing that yeah, and another thing that I do that I don't realize helps me, but when I sit back, I realize it helps me. I volunteer.
Mm.
I volunteer at a what would I call it? It's an art project where kids come to do to play instruments
Mm-hmm.
and dance and
Mm-hmm.
do fun activities. I volunteer there. I teach kids life skills.
Mm.
So every time I'm going there, sometimes I feel like, oh my God, do I have to go? Then when I come back home, I feel so good. I feel I interacted with the kids. I left them with something, and it's just so fulfilling. So do some charity work. That also helps. Just rejuvenate your spirit.
Yeah, I really like those, and I really like I like that thing that you said about discovering. I keep telling everybody that I know that life is an adventure, and we are here to collect experiences. So there's no reason for you to put yourself in jail and say this is the one thing I'm gonna do forever and ever. Amen. That is not how we were created. We are created to explore different things. So again, try a bunch of different things to find out what works, and then do more of that, and discard what doesn't work, because you can't limit yourself like that. I really like those ones. I'm very curious about, and I'm sure even our audience is curious about Mental is Human Too. What's the story behind Mental is Human Too? How did it become a thing, and what does Mental is Human do right now?
So Mental is Human Too came up when I was doing my practicum at Madare. Practicum is internship for counselors.
Yeah.
When I was doing my internship there, I realized that this is just me, not statistics, not anything quoted out there. I realized that
disclaimer
50% disclaimer. My disclaimer is this is Brenda's own observation.
Yeah.
I realized that 50% of the problems that someone who's been diagnosed with mental illness experience is lack of support from family. Yeah. The other 50% is medication and expenses and managing the illness. The other is family support. And family doesn't support. Why? Because they don't understand. They don't know. That person is talking to an image that everybody can see. They are bewitched. They are seeing demons. They are crazy, you know, but they don't understand that is someone is having an hallucination. Yeah. Me, I understand because I'm educated. I've read it. I've seen it. I understand it. This family member doesn't understand. So they'll dismiss the person. They'll be rude towards them. They'll call them names. They'll talk about them when they're in the room. So I just felt responsible to share the knowledge that we have as people who are in the field, to give the public information about mental health and about life skills and about managing yourself. So that's how I came up with Mental is Human Too, just to remind people that mental illness is human too. Yeah, just like malaria, just like typhoid, just like TB, just like any other kind of illness that exists, you know. So that's how it came about. Then we did a documentary. We had a screening event. We put out more content. I started putting.
I think we've lost you for a second, Brenda.
Sorry, yeah?
Brenda, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, I think we lost you for a second. You were telling us that you created a documentary and you had a screening. So you can carry from there.
Oh, yeah. So we did a documentary, had a screening. Then later on, we also did in-person events.
Yeah.
Then shortly after that, COVID came around. Then I started doing videos at home independently.
Yeah.
Then I also took a break from the videos. Then now I'm doing Instagram Live every Friday, where I talk about different topics on mental health, on life skills.
Yeah.
And that's where we are. I'm actually working on a second documentary at the moment. So, God willing, it will be out before the year ends. But anyone who's willing to help me, this is a charity thing that I do. I am not a donor. I don't have money, but I'm just volunteering my time and my expertise. So if any of your audiences can assist with that, I'll be very happy to get the support needed.
Maybe you can tell us what kind of help you need so that we know what to help you with. What do you need? What would you like people to help you with in creating this second documentary? You never know who's listening.
I need. Yes,
It could be
exactly,
Bill Gates. Yeah,
exactly.
it could be Bill Gates.
Yeah, I need a cameraman
Uh-huh.
and an editor and a camera. I need a good cameraman, and editor.
Ah, okay.
The rest can be taken care of.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Thank you for letting us know. Of course, definitely, if anybody is listening and willing to volunteer their camera, their skills as a cameraman or camera woman, camera person. That's the gender neutral term, camera person. whoever is willing to volunteer that, whoever is willing to volunteer to edit the videos, the documentary, please reach out to Brenda on MentalIs HumanToo. That's the Facebook page, that's the Instagram page, I believe. And yeah, I'm sure you'll be doing something for humanity. So I think that's an important message out there. And congratulations in creating the platform. This information, we can't hold it to ourselves. We have to keep putting it out there. So thank you for creating the platform, thank you for creating the documentary, and for putting in the time and energy to create a second documentary. For the Facebook, for the Instagram lives that you're doing every Friday, we'll be sure to join as often as we can. So thank you for doing those as well. Yeah, I think that's a good initiative that you're doing, and congratulations on every single thing that you're doing. We are really proud of you. I'm proud of you.
Thank you so much. That means a lot. Thank you so much.
Awesome. So, when you started, now we are coming full circle. When we started, you told us that that you've been in the practice since 2018, and 2018 is a long time ago. Actually, it feels like a long time ago because we had 2 years of nothing, aka 2020 and 2021. I don't know what happened in those 2 years, so it feels like a long time ago. So since 2018 up to now, you've been working as a counselor, as a mental health professional, and my question is, how do I put even this? What you know how kwa ground vitu ni different and kwa class vitu ni different. So what is it that in class you thought you knew, and then you arrived at the ground and you're like, where things are different? What was the lesson that you learned that you wish you knew before you arrived at the ground?
That we have to make the big terminology that we learn in class.
Yes.
We have to break it down to a language that people will understand.
Yeah.
You have to break it down to Kiswahili. You have to break it down to your mother tongue.
Oh yeah.
You have to break you have to break it down so that it makes sense to someone who's never been in a psychology class. Yeah? Like the place where I volunteer, I teach kids. How do you teach kids how to deal with anger? Yeah. How do you teach kids how to deal with frustration? How do you tell kids about coping skills? How do you teach kids about confidence?
Yeah.
You know, like just translating it from the professional terminology that we have to making it like a practical thing that somebody can understand and somebody can use in their life,
Yeah.
and somebody can be helped. Yeah, that's the biggest realization. It's still the biggest realization. Because even when I go to other forums, you know, like I think 2 months ago, I was talking to some women about mental health,
Yeah.
you know, in Kibera. So when I go there, I can't be Brenda the psychologist. I have to be Brenda who understands what their challenges are.
Yes.
And what tips can I share with them. Yeah. How do I teach them to stay well when they have stress? Like, how can I translate my knowledge to make sense to them?
Yeah.
How do I tell them have community, have support systems? Yeah. If I say have support systems, they'll not understand a single thing I'm saying. It's not, what is that? What am I talking about?
Yeah.
But if I tell them have good friends that you can talk to when you're having challenges, have someone you can open up to, have your fellow women be your support people who you can talk to, then it will make sense to them.
Yeah.
So just translating it to make sense to the individual you're talking to, that was my biggest realization.
Yeah. I think that is an important one, especially because I keep saying it's the weakness of psychology in Africa that we are learning psychology, but from a Western perspective. We are learning psychology from books that have been written by white men who died 20, 30 years ago. If there are any that are alive, there are very few, and it's still a very Western concept, because not necessarily psychology as a field. It's not really a Western concept like that, but the terminologies that are used, the language it is taught in, it is all a very Western way of teaching and passing on the knowledge. So I think it's the failure. I think it's the failure of the education system in Africa, that we have not been able to distill this information into something that is understandable for our people. And so it becomes the work of the counselors to not only learn psychology from those people who have created those theories and all those things, but then it also becomes our work to translate those things to the people that we are serving. Because if I leave Nairobi right now and I just drive 2 hours out of Nairobi, I'm in a completely different place. And I am in a place where people might not understand half of the things that I'm saying. When I tell them ADHD, they're like, what is that? And why is my child behaving like this? I don't know what you're saying, you know. But when I read ADHD in a book, because I've sat in a class for 5 years as well, I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense. But then the people who taught me borrowed those ideas from books that were written by people who have no context of Africa, no context of Kenya, no context of 1 hour, 2 hours drive outside of Nairobi. So I think that's a very important lesson that mental health professionals need to learn, especially here in Kenya and in Africa as a whole. Yes, we can learn from the West, but we have to dilute that information. We have to translate that information. Actually, translate is the right word. Translate that information to something that is understandable for our people. Otherwise, we'll continue creating content out here that sounds nice and looks nice, but then it's benefiting nobody. And I really thank you for bringing that point up, because it's a very important point that I think we all need to understand. So yeah, I think that's a really, really good one. So Brenda, thank you so much for coming to this episode of Know the Therapist. We are glad you have been able to know our therapist, Brenda Onyango Kituyi. And thank you for all the work that you're doing. It's really important, and we appreciate you and your platform. Everything that you're doing is really important. Plug yourself. This is your opportunity to plug yourself. Where can people find you? How can people find you? I know you've mentioned it, but now just put it in one place so that they can see it and just be like, yeah, this is where to go if I'm looking for Brenda.
MentalIs HumanToo. Everywhere. Google. Yeah, MentalIs HumanToo everywhere. Google as one word. I have a website, so I think the website would be the best place because you'll find everything. So www.mentalishumantoo.org.
Yeah.
www.mentalishumantoo.org. You go to the website, it will direct you to Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and everywhere else.
That is very neat. That is a very neat way of putting it. That is very neat.
Yeah, subscribe. Yeah. Just simple like that.
Yeah.
You'll find my stuff everywhere.
And
subscribe to everything.
Yes, your YouTube channel is still in the website, yeah? So they will find it there, yes? Okay, guys, go subscribe to Brenda's channel, please. Thank you. Subscribe to Brenda's channel and get content about mental health. Thank you so much, Brenda, for this wonderful time that you have had with you. We really appreciate you, and we look forward to seeing you at another time in another platform in different settings. We look forward to seeing the documentary when it is out. Please let us know so that we can share it with our audience, and we can tell everybody to come through and have a look, have a watch during the screening. We are really looking forward to that, and I wish you nothing but the best. Thank you, everybody, for coming through, for listening, for being present, for coming to this session. We appreciate your time, and we appreciate your presence here. Every week, you always come back, and that is important. Juma Victor, I see you. Juma Victor is one of our mental health professionals and Infinity Wellness consultants. So thank you, Juma, for coming through. We appreciate your presence as well. With that said, thank you, Brenda, and I wish everybody a wonderful night, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Thank you.